All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I've got Ryan here with us today. He's been building out some amazing infrastructure behind the scenes. Ryan, can you give us a quick preview about who you are and what you've been brought in here to do and what we're going to see today?
I'm Ryan Quick. I work with Providential Worldwide. We were asked to come in and help ESO move to both a new platform and a new cloud provider at the same time. That not move in a lift and shift kind of way, but move the new feature stack and be able to build components quickly and using a more for lack of a better term, agile or in our case, microservice enabled type of platform to be able to get features out there quicker to allow ESO to penetrate new markets faster and in different geographic jurisdictions.
All right. That sounds actually really amazing. How you wired that in and how we'll be hopefully be able to make things workloads run faster with this setup. All right, Ryan. That sounds really good. Before we deep dive into all the cool platform engineering stuff you've been building, can you walk me through the basics? Let's pretend I've never logged in AWS before. How do I actually get into our environment, see the EKS cluster, get really just get going as if I'm brand new?
Ah, yeah. So what I want to do is I'm going to take you through two different methods to access the AWS environment. And in this particular case, I'm going to assume that you've had no experience at all accessing AWS. So it might be a bit pedantic if you have, but I do want to show as much as I can to make it so that it works well. Um, what I'm not going to do though is let you have access to my passwords or anything like that. So you might see you might see a lag while I go off to an unshowing window here while I do access things. I'm gonna see if I can
All right,
quickly switch you here to a view where you can see what I'm working on. Okay. Um,
great.
all right, now just to show you that nothing is actually working, I'm going to run a quick AWS command. This would tell me if it works, it would tell me about the network. But as you can see here, I am actually not already logged in, so I'm really doing this live. This is an actual demo, an actual demo.
Perfect. It's just what we need to see.
All right. So now I have two different shortcuts for being able to show this here. I'll show you what they are. Um, and the reason for that is because we have two different AWS environments that we work with. The one we're going to be working with here is the new one that we built, which is in US East 1 in Northern Virginia, and it's the one that's operated and owned by ESO. So when I run this AWS ESO command, I'm actually going to be running this long thing over here, which
Okay.
exports environment variables and things like that. But I'll show you that part first, but let's see what the magic does. All right, so it's asking me to copy this into a browser and then authenticate myself, which I will go and do over here, and you will not see that,
Okay.
but I'll be right back. Actually, while you're watching that, you'll probably see when it works for me. At least I
Yep.
think. So here we go. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Successful. All right.
Okay, so that's a thing you have to do in your browser. You only have to be logged into your ESO Microsoft account to do it. And if you copy that in there, I promise it's really simple. It works. It'll work right away and it'll tell you what to do. Basically, it'll say, hey, do you want to let this happen? Are you coming in from a command line? And the answer is yes. Then you say, okay.
So
Um,
configuring that command line is not too scary then, is what you're saying.
nope. In fact, I'll go back up here and rerun that command that you just saw me run a minute ago. And now you'll see that a bunch of stuff comes back. That tells me about the network. You don't need to worry about that for right now. I just wanted you to see that that command that didn't work before now definitely does work.
Excellent.
And let me show you a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes here.
Okay. Well, very cool. Yeah, yeah. Shows what I actually need to do to get into the network.
Yep. So when I ran that alias command here, it does two things. It uses the single sign-on for AWS to connect and log in. That was the first thing that it popped up. The second thing it does is create two environment variables after that. and you see them set here. One is the AWS profile, because if you have multiple AWS accounts, you'll need to have profiles or else weird things happen because it'll
Yeah.
get confused as to what you're doing. And the second one is the region. You don't actually have to have this one, but if you don't, then every command you run, you need to put region on there so that it knows where you're trying to do things. So this, since we're operating everything right now out of US East 1, it saves me some time typing to put both of those back on there. Um,
Okay.
okay. So that's kind of the first way in. And what I all I've done though so far is just given myself permission to use the AWS client. I haven't actually
Okay.
connected to anything other than to AWS's security framework. I haven't talked to any of our devices yet.
Okay. Now, I remember one time you mentioned a Bastion host. Are we going to be looking at that or talking about that all at all today?
We are. So let me pop to this window over here real quick. It's the same machine, just a different window. Okay. So in here, I've got two different ways of going to our bastion. So if you don't know what a bastion is, it's exactly what you think it is. It's a toughened up, secured place that you can get into that is allowed from the outside world because it's a little bit tougher to be able to do things on the inside world. So if you think of it in terms of like a medieval castle, this is getting through the portcullis, but not getting in, not going all the way into the courtyard beyond it. You are sort of stuck behind the big gate with a bunch of guards around you, going, "All right, we let you in this far. Now you got to tell us what it is that you want to do from here."
All right.
And so that's what we've built over there is a small single instance to do that. There's we've done that with some different architecture and different platform stuff to save some money. But that's a different podcast. But at any rate, that's what we've got here. And what I'm showing in this particular SSH config are three different methods to be able to access that same host. Just in shorthand. The first one here is when I first built it. This is because of the way that AWS has their images set up for operating systems. You have to use an admin registered is the sort of user account that they want you to use, and you have to upload a special key in order to be able to get in. Once you're done, you don't actually need this. I just still have it in here in case since I'm building and working on it, I might occasionally use it. For everyone else, these other two are the ways that we'll be doing things, and they work exactly the same way. Um,
Okay.
so SSH secure shell is what we're configuring here, and we're doing two different things. One, we're connecting to a host. The host in this case is always named the same thing: pww bastion dev01 ESO Trilix.io. Trilix is our platform, our software platform. And to be honest, the reason that I use Trilix.io is because it's a lot shorter to type than providentialworldwide.com. Not, it has nothing to do with anything other than that. When I put the DNS in there and I have to start typing a big long thing, any letters that I can save are good. So I put them there. But you'll see the host name here and the host name here are exactly the same. There's no difference. All I've changed is the command that we're using to actually do the connection.
Okay.
Um, in the first one, and I'll show you that working, there's no special options for SSH. It's just going to be connecting straightforward. Now, right now, I have to say, if you're going to try and connect from SSH, you're only allowed to connect in from Providentia's infrastructure at the moment because we're the only ones building there. So if you tried to SSH to this from your laptop or wherever you happen to be right now, you're just going to get a timeout. Nothing's going to let you in. But talk to us and talk to the security team and we can get it so that you can connect there. um, and then I have one additional option on here. I'm using what's called a dynamic forward. That is SSH's speak for creating a SOCKS proxy. So if you're familiar with how browsers work and things like that, there's different types of proxies that you can use to basically poke holes through firewalls as required for being able to do different types of work. Um, HTTP and HTTPS proxies are allowing, well, you guessed it, web traffic through. A SOCKS proxy is a little bit stronger. It can allow lots of different types of traffic or can be used to do SOCKS proxying. And the other thing that's neat about SOCKS proxies is that DNS resolution can happen on the other side of the proxy, which doesn't work for HTTP. So that means you can have a bunch of nodes with their own private namespace, their own private DNS working out there. And you don't have to expose that to the internet because the other side of the bastion can be the one that's doing the DNS resolution for you. Um,
All right.
so
So just with a couple commands, I'll be able to get in and be able to then run things in things like MySQL and feel like it's running on a local host, is what you're saying.
yep, and I'll show you. So if I just do bastion dev O1, this is the first one.
All right.
I am now logged into AWS.
Just like that. All right.
Right. So, yep, I'm connected. This node is 10.01.148, just to prove that I'm not lying to you. This is the node that I started on. It's gonna completely different network here. Um, and so yeah, it looks like that. Um, and it's connected in with that port forward that's set up, which I'll probably demo in a different. Well, we'll probably do that later in the thing because I'll have to set up a window where you can see it working.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Although I will show it for kubectl here in a minute.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, now that we're inside, how will we actually look at an EKS cluster?
All right, so I'm gonna pop back over here to this one that is got K9s running,
All right.
and I'm going to.
Love
All
K9.
right.
That looks really good, Ryan. So now that we've seen how we can get inside, um, how do I actually look at the EKS cluster and see what's going on?
All right. So to do that, I'm going to pop back over here to that previous window I was at and check and make sure I've got those environment variables set, which I did, but I'll check again.
The region one and
Yep.
yeah.
Once I do that, that means I should be talking to the right AWS instance. And
Yep.
now kubectl will work just as it would for anything else. And remember, I'm running it over here on this side. So if I check my context, you'll see that I've got this long cluster name from AWS over here that matches the
Yes.
name of that host, dev pww1. Um, and it's currently set to be the current
All
cluster.
right, that looks really good, Ryan. So now that we're inside, how do I actually look at the EKS cluster itself?
Okay. All right. So what you want to do now that you've got the SOX proxy running, you're going to go over here and we're going to create another environment variable that basically tells everything that you're running to use the SOX proxy. And I'm going to do that by cheating. And the command that I ran there is telling it to do to use SOX 5 on that port. Remember, that's my local address there. So it's telling it to talk to myself on port 54321,
Okay.
just so you see that this is the same stuff we had in there. 54321 is where
All
that
right.
SOX proxy is going. So what we just said is, okay, for HTTPS, connect using SOX 5 protocol to myself on port 54321, which because I am SSH'd over here to this node is now being forwarded over to the remote instance to the Bastion machine, and the Bastion is now running a proxy over there. Once you do that, kubectl, which knows how to obey HTTPS proxy instructions, will be able to do things like get your node list. And now it's talking to EKS inside there, where you see Fargate and EC2 internal as which are common. That's the sort of default namespace that you get for DNS um, on AWS. So you're talking in there, and
Okay.
all your other tools that are based on kubectl, like K9s, will also work. So you can see here when I look at the context, it's showing me that it's using the ARN for that cluster that we've got there. Um, I can see the same nodes. I can type the word node. Yeah. Are still there. We can look and see which pods are running on them. See everything that we know about them. And so here you see they're AMD 64s. They're running in Fargate. They're in the US East 1 and 1A availability zones and things like that. So you are now officially talking to AWS inside, but you haven't had to leave. All you've had to do is keep this session up that we still have over here. I'm the only one logged in on this Bastion at the moment, but all your tools that you're used to will still work, and that includes kubectl based stuff. VS Code will still work. Things like, basically everything that you need to be able to access EKS from your build system or wherever will work through here, and you can just keep the one thing running. And the cool thing is, as long as you're using those port forwards, your SSH won't time out, so you can just have it over there in the background, and it'll be happy. As soon as you stop doing something or your token expires from AWS, which is about 12 hours, I think, is the default amount of time that they give you, then it will expire and you'll get that token. You'll get this token expired message and you'll have to re-authenticate. But once you're in, it's a lot like working on the Zscaler. You'll be able to just keep right on plugging.
Great. So we'll have plenty of time to be able to check and make sure everything's healthy, and then get to work on anything new that we need to work on.
Yep. And I'll show you if I log out, it let me come back to this host. And if I try and use kubectl again now, you'll see that I cannot get there
All
because
right.
that is not working. So, but if I go back and pop myself back in, ta-da, pretty cool. Um,
Yeah. All right. I love this. It's simple, it's direct, and I think even folks who aren't deeply technical can follow and get up to speed really quickly with this.
they can. Now, there's two different ways that you can get in, and that's why I wanted to show you both of them.
Okay.
The SSH method is the one that I tend to prefer, but I'm a command line guy. You see that from me
Right.
all
We
over.
definitely there's plenty of those at ESO as well, so they're going to
Yeah.
appreciate that too.
But if you're not, or if you're more interested in working with AWS through the console as opposed to the CLI, then there is another method that you can use to get there. And that's through using um, AWS's ASM, sorry, SSM module. Um,
Okay.
and SSM is basically secure session management. There you go. I
Yes.
remembered it.
Yeah.
Uh,
You got it quicker than I did.
yeah, config.d. Yes, so there we go. Okay. And so what you'll see down here is, remember I told you there's two different SSH commands. That's the first one.
Yes.
There's a second one here, and it's going to run. The only difference is that it's running this proxy command. So if you tell SSH to run a proxy command, it will not run SSH, oddly enough. It will do whatever you say the proxy command is first, and then try and connect itself into whatever is given to it by that thing. And in this particular case, we're running an AWS command line here, which is basically start a session to this target. In this case, the target is the internal identifier for AWS for this machine right here. So this is sort of the DNS human readable version of it. This is AWS's internal ID. Unfortunately, you have to use the internal ID in order to use the SSM command, which is why I've hard coded it here. There's ways to do this without hard coding it, but I thought it'd be easier for the demo to show that. And then I've done those same things. I've tacked on the same profile, the same region. Remember, I could do them with environment variables, or I can do
Yep.
it this way. Since I've set this up to be the first thing that you run, I'm not guaranteeing, I can't make the assumption you've already set the environment variable, so I'm doing it manually on the command line there. Um, and then the way that SSM works, you call a pre-scripted set of rules from Amazon. And in this case, the one we want is AWS start SSH session. That they wrote
Right.
that. It's not something that we made up. It's theirs. And then all you're doing here is you're feeding it the port number you want to connect to, which is defaults to port 22. Um, and I'm not sure why you have to do that. You would think that the document about SSH would realize that it knew what the default port for SSH was, but it doesn't. You have to feed it. Um, so yeah, we feed it that. What it's going to look like though is very similar. So where I was SSHing over here before, I'm just going to add on -SSM here, and you won't be able to tell any difference. It looks it
All
looks
right.
very much the same. So we can now look at something a little bit different. Uh, AWS subscriptions state. Okay.
There we go. All right.
Gotta have a capital A. And so what you'll see now is where I was just SSH'd in before. Now you'll see that I've been authenticated. It knows who I am. Um, it's created its own session. It's given me permission and it started the SSH just like it did before. But now I've completely this version is completely registered in with the AWS accounting mechanism and things like that. So I don't have to use the SSH audit logs and things like that on the box in order to figure out who connected to it. Now AWS is fully aware of what's going on. And the other thing that's cool about SSM is that you can use SSM to connect to other types of things that are not easily connected to via SOCKS. For example, we have MySQL in Aurora behind the scenes back there, and there's another document that you can use that you can add on here that's like connect to my Aurora instance and so on. And then it gives you all the right port forwards and things like that to be able to get to those other AWS resources that aren't as easy to port forward to, or might be in different parts of the network that don't have easy routes from the Bastion and things like that. So in the long run, it's SSM is probably the better of the two to use. While we're just building in Kubernetes and things like that, either one will work well. But if you're going to pick one to learn, I'd pick the SSM.
All right. That sounds like some great advice.
But just to show you back over here again, same thing. This is still working just fine. K9s will still work just fine. So all the right environment variables and tooling on your initial side are still working. Um, but just two different methods to get in.
Great. So still be able to do all of our health checks and everything we need to know that everything's up and live and ready for us to work on.
Yep, everything will work fine.
All right, great. Thanks for that introduction on getting there to look at these. But what if I don't even know how to run kubectl, Ryan?
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good point. So, as you can see, AWS has all kinds of crazy long names for things, and they're not human readable. The
Right.
good news is, what we can do is we can make that pretty simple. There's commands to be able to do that. So I'm going to um, get rid of my current config
Okay.
so that I don't have anything. It's
Yeah.
gone. All right. And then just to show you, that is not working at the moment,
Oh
right?
yeah. All right. Yeah.
Nothing there. Okay. So what we can do is we can run, and I'm gonna cheat a bit. So there's a command that we can run against AWS directly, which will create the kube config that kubectl needs to be able to talk to itself. And so that's what I'm going to run here. So this was just the AWS command line for EKS. That's what they call Kubernetes. It's going
Okay.
to update my kube config, which is what kubectl looks at in order to be able to talk to things. It gives its certificates and client certs and addresses to go to and all that kind of stuff. Um, I'm going to give it a name of the cluster. In this case, we know the cluster's name is ESO dev PWW01. And I'm going to feed it that region and profile again, just in case.
All right.
So when I do that, it should give me a new context here. And kubectl, which wasn't working a second ago, should be working now. And it
Beautiful.
is. And if you look at it, you'll be able to see that it added this context in. um, with the horrible name, but nevertheless. And you can rename it. I'll let you look at the options for the EKS command line there to be able to rename your profile if you want to. But that will get you in and get you working, and you can go from there.
Fantastic. All right. Looks like this is really going to be super simple for us to get into and work with however we need to and, and be able to be customizable so we can work with it the way we need to or work best for us.
Yeah, I hope so. The goal is to make it easy. Um, while it's still new, we don't want you to have to climb too many hills to get there.
Sounds good. All right, so this is a great introduction. I guess the next time we're talking, we're gonna do something a little more complex and take a deeper dive into some more exciting stuff as well, right?
Yep, we're gonna go through microservices that we have out there, how they work a little bit, what the architecture um, of the overall platform is, both the infrastructure side of how we've laid out AWS itself and the types of platform components that we've built on top of there, and how they come together to make applications work. Because it's pretty neat, but it's also somewhat counterintuitive sometimes. And we'll explain why that is and why it's okay.
Sounds like something to be excited about. Thanks for your time again, Ryan, today, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you soon.